My name is Katie Carlson, and this is my presentation on crisis management and leadership in hospitality. Many scholars argue that the hospitality sector is open to frequent unethical practices. Managers and employees, due to intensive face-to-face interactions with clients, confront many ethical dilemmas in their day-to-day operations. In my paper, I outline an ethical dilemma I experienced working in the hospitality industry and applied the theory of crisis communication in relation to how it was handled and how it could have been handled. In my first year working in hospitality at a hotel, we experienced a case of bed bugs within one of the rooms. The long-term guest of that room at the time complained of a rash and itching, attributing it to detergent or softener we used in our sheets. Upon further investigation, we found that it was bed bugs. In the hotel's attempt to rectify the situation and eradicate the problem, we were instructed to not inform the guest, or any others for that matter, of what the real problem was. Crisis communication begins with the contention of goods that disrupts the public sphere. It protects the public reputation of individuals or organizations. From a communication standpoint, a crisis is a business or organizational problem that is exposed to public attention and that threatens a company's reputation and its ability to conduct business. My observation in this crisis was the lack of ethics in hospitality industry. Despite hospitality itself being defined as the quality or disposition of receiving and treating guests and strangers in a warm, friendly, generous way, given this definition, one could assume that the proper treatment of guests would include ethical treatment of guests, but this is often not the case. According to Andrew Dubrin, there are 6 major types of crises faced by leaders and organizations. Our type of crisis was what's known as reputational crisis, in which rumor spreads that a major company product is contaminated. As our source of business is overnight to long-term guest stays at our establishment, the product in this case was our ability to provide proper rest and comfort in the form of our amenities, including our beds. And the contamination was the bed bugs. In analyzing my experience based on the theory of crisis communication, management was most concerned with reputation damage control. This is a common initial and recurring thought in a time of crisis or pre-crisis. How can we solve the problem with as little reputational damage as possible? Avoiding a full-on crisis in this situation meant withholding information from guests. I do not agree with the way management handled things in my situation. However, in the end, there was little to no reputational damage. The guests and media were never the wiser. Thus, the hotel's image wasn't publicly damaged. But in my opinion, they got lucky. Had the guests been less trusting and realized the possibility of bed bugs, which can be common in hotels, or had the guest gone to a doctor, I'm sure the outcome would have been very different. Ivy Business Journal outlines 10 rules for crisis management and communication. Respect the media, communicate, take responsibility, centralize information, establish a crisis team, plan for the worst and hope for the best, communicate with employees, third parties, use research to determine responses, and create a website. One other aspect of note is argued by C.E. et al. That ethical leadership may be necessary, but not sufficient deterrent for unethical behavior. Leaders may, in fact, make poor decisions, especially in situations that are equivocal and uncertain. By all accounts, promoting ethical decision-making at the leader level requires more than ethical guidelines and leaders with strong moral character. It requires that leaders are equipped with skills that help them navigate ethical dilemmas. This particular case study really highlights the unethical practices within the hospitality industry. Ethics in hospitality sometimes seems to take a back seat to appearances, especially in the era of such heavy reliance on customer review sites such as TripAdvisor and Yelp. Reviews on such sites rarely mention unethical behavior, but rather are centered on the comfort of the establishment and friendliness of the staff, which may be a reason why ethics can be overlooked by this particular industry. Ethical behavior in hospitality, unlike other more corporate industries, takes a back seat. If the company continued to treat crises in the manner they did, they could have a much larger company-wide falling out. However, if they take the time to follow the communication crisis management rules, they can maintain a good reputation and avoid a fallout on a larger scale. This particular case was an isolated incident, but there are many types of unethical practices in hospitality that could be further studied. For example, racial prejudices. This can include such things as raising nightly rates to certain minorities or lying about room availability. Future research could also be done into the training of leaders in the hospitality industry in order to better handle unethical issues that arise that are specific to the industry. Due to the close nature of the hospitality industry, manager to employee and employee to customer, I think that more research into hospitality and ethics could be done.